Miss Iman here from Kind Academy. I am back with a homeschool hack for you guys. Today, be as quick as I can make routines as possible because routines are kind of funny, but I still want to come on here and just give a little bit of a tidbit of the way that I do routines with my family. If you haven't already noticed, homeschooling is very fluid and it's very flexible. And it's one of those things that some days it's really, really great and other days it's really not. So when I create my routines, first I try to see hello, whoever just popped in. I can't see comments. If you want to comment, I can say hi. So I'm talking about how I create routines. Now, different people may do this a different way, but the way that I like to do it is I like to basically see how our flow is going throughout the day. So I kind of like to keep notes on what exactly is happening throughout our day before I make a routine. So for example, that gives me an idea of the way the flow of the day is so that I'm not trying to create this really rigid routine that's not really realistic. So once I give myself about a week of seeing how things are flowing, how my kids are doing, what time breakfast, what time they're usually waking up. Now that we're homeschooling, we really don't have to, and we're home, we really don't have to have like that set in the morning, 7 o'clock, get them all ready, go to school. So we've been waking up a little bit later. So before I started creating a routine for the way things were going to go, I just waited to see how things were naturally occurring. So I notice now my kids are up more like around 8 o'clock. And then I kind of have based everything around that time frame. We do breakfast around that time. We take a walk a little bit after that. Now we do school a little bit after that. We try to have school done by about noon. And then once we're done with school at noon, then mommy has time to work. That has worked out with my family, not because I said this is what it's going to be, but because that's the way that it was seemed like it was falling into the pattern and the routine. So my biggest tip for families when they're creating these routines with their children is I always like to say, see what their routine is first and then try to create something based off of that routine. And then once you create something based off of that routine, it's a lot easier for you to transition or even add things in, or then to kind of set times of day that things are happening. So we know that we have our nightly walk, we know that we have our morning walk. And now if it comes down to mommy saying, hey, I want to add something that we're doing in our day, I know where the lower times of the days or the easier times of the day are to fit those little things in. So basically what I said to wrap it all up, and this is really a quick one, is when I create my routines or when I create my schedules, I really base it off the way that I see my children naturally doing things and the way I see I'm naturally doing things. I know that my breakfast time is around 8. I know that they are generally up and moving around that time. So I'm not going to go ahead and set a routine for 7 o'clock unless there's something that's absolutely necessary for me to do. Now that most of us are home, we probably don't have that much, but say you have work and you want to set that schedule to something a little bit different, then I would start changing it by letting the children know and then having that up on the board of what we're going to be doing differently and trying to give them a little bit of a warning before I change my entire routine or schedule about it. But routines are really, really something that kind of are simple for me because of the way that I've done them. I don't really get much backlash with routines because I'm always really following their lead and then squeezing things in here and there and then slowly transitioning out of that. Also, routines are like a living document. I've already had probably 10 routines in my household for the way things go. As the kids get older, the routines change. As they develop more independence, the routines change. As we've added children to our life, we have 3 now, our routines have changed. So probably about every 3 months, I'm kind of updating it or changing it or putting something up. I laminate it once I print it out. I might create a routine for everybody, like an editable template. But right now, I also want you guys like taking care of yourself a lot and not trying to become too strict on routines. Maybe if there's like one thing that you're doing with the kids a day, and not really like overwhelming yourself with sticking to a specific routine. I'm hearing a lot of families that are saying that like one day they're having like amazing days and they're able to get 10,000 things done, and then the next day they just want to like relax and not really get much done. And that's okay too, because right now everybody is kind of crisis schooling. So don't feel stressed out if you can't have a routine. But if you do want to have a routine, then I would suggest kind of going with the flow of what's happening with your children and then basing things off of that. So those are my tips for the day for homeschooling. And I hope that they help your family out. If you can hear my children screaming in the background, like, that is just the way life is now. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and thank you so much for watching. Bye.